She hasn't worked a day since college, my father told the jury. He sued me for stealing from my late mother's trust. Then my lawyer handed the judge a sealed envelope from the Pentagon. The judge took off his glasses. All rise. I sat at that defense table with my hands flat on the wood and my face completely still. I had spent 15 years learning how to be unreadable in rooms far more dangerous than this one. A county courthouse in rural Virginia, with its water-stained ceiling tiles and its smell of burnt coffee and old carpet, was not going to be the thing that broke me. My father was in his element. He had been performing for this town his entire life. He knew every face in the gallery, the bailiff's name, the court reporter's husband. He was the kind of man who built his identity out of being the most important person in every room he entered. For most of my life, I had let him have that. I stepped aside and let him fill all the available space. It was easier, and for reasons I could not explain to him then, it was necessary. When my mother got sick, I handled it the only way I knew how, quietly. Her treatment bills hit 6 figures within the first year. The insurance company offered a settlement that wouldn't have covered a month of care. My father started selling off equipment on the back 40 and pretending it was spring cleaning. I watched from a distance and did what I had been trained to do. I solved the problem without leaving fingerprints. The money moved through a private account into a medical trust I had set up years earlier. My mother thought it was a grant. My father thought she had gotten lucky. Neither of them ever knew it was me. When she died, he went through her financials with a fine-toothed comb. He found withdrawals he didn't recognize. And because he had spent 15 years building a version of me that was irresponsible and living off other people's goodwill, he did not consider for one second that I might have been the one funding the account. He filed the complaint within 60 days of her funeral, said I had been exploiting her dementia to forge her signature and drain the estate. His lawyer had a private investigator's report, 42 pages, documenting my lack of a verifiable employer. No corporate filings, no LinkedIn, no pay stubs in any civilian system. The logistics company on my tax returns traced to a post office box in Northern Virginia. He placed that report in front of the jury with the confidence of a man who had already won. You could feel the room deciding. My father testified for nearly 2 hours. He described a daughter who vanished after college, who drifted in and out of DC on vague promises of important work that never materialized, who had let her mother carry the weight of a family while contributing nothing. He was composed, convincing. He had been rehearsing this version of me for 15 years. My brother sat in the gallery and did not look at me once. When my lawyer stood up, he did not raise his voice. He did not perform. He walked to the center of the room, opened his briefcase, and removed a black envelope sealed with a wax stamp I recognized immediately. Your Honor, he said, my client operates under a classified federal employment designation. Her records do not appear in civilian databases because federal law prohibits their disclosure. Given the severity of the accusations in this proceeding, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has authorized a limited judicial disclosure. He placed the envelope on the bench. The room went completely quiet. My father's lawyer was on his feet, calling it theater, demanding to know what any of this had to do with a trust dispute. The judge raised one hand without looking up. Everyone sat back down. He read it once. He turned to the first page and read it again. Then he set it down, removed his glasses, and looked out at the room the way men do when they are reorienting to a reality they did not expect. Mr. Vance, he said, for the past 2 hours this court has listened to testimony characterizing your daughter as unemployed, parasitic, and criminally negligent. He paused. I have before me a verified statement from the Director of National Intelligence confirming that your daughter has been continuously employed in a classified federal capacity for 15 years. The company on her tax returns is a Tier 1 cover designation maintained by the Department of Defense. There are no missing records. There is no fraud. The room did not make a sound. My father's mouth opened. He looked at his lawyer. His lawyer was staring at the table. Then he turned and looked at me for the first time all morning. I did not look away. The judge folded his hands. I am dismissing this complaint with prejudice. He looked at my father one final time. The money you couldn't account for. The grants, the medical trust, the funds that kept this farm afloat. He let that sit there. You might want to ask your daughter where that came from.